Now we will move to the norma basilis interna, the cranial cavity. When you open the skull, you will find this part, which is part. This is the skull cave with the frontal bone and the two parietal bones and the squamous part of temporal bone. This is a groove for superior sagittal sinus. Those are the impressions of the medial meningeal artery, and those are lacuna lateralis, or grooves for lacuna lateralis, which are the lateral projection of the superior sagittal sinus. Then we will move to the cranial cavity, which is full of detail and divided into anterior cranial fossa, middle cranial fossa, and posterior cranial fossa. In the anterior cranial fossa, you can see the frontal crest, cristagalli, and the cribriform relate of ethmoid bone with olfactory nerve fibers passing through it. You will find that this is the body of the sphenoid, this is the lesser wing of the sphenoid, and its posterior end is the anterior clinoid spine or anterior colonnade process. This is the orbital blade of the frontal bone. If you move to the middle part, you will find this is the cellula turcica. We have seen it in the radiological film. This is the cellula turcica. This is the hypophyseal fossa. This is the tuberculum celli, and you will find this is the optic groove for the optic chiasma, rated for the optic chiasma. And this is the dorsum celli with the posterior clinoid process projecting laterally from it. This is the superior orbital fissure and below it. This is the lesser wing of sphenoid, and this is the greater wing of sphenoid, and below between them you will find the superior orbital fissure with nerves supplying the extraocular muscles passing through it. You will find here this is the optic foramen with the optic nerve and the ophthalmic artery passing through it. In the greater wing of sphenoid, you will find the foramen rotundum with maxillary nerve passing through it, foramen ovale and foramen spinosum. We have seen them before, and this is the impressions for the medial meningeal artery. This is the petrous part of temporal bone with foramen lacerum. Here, this is trigeminal impression for trigeminal ganglion, and this elevated area is arcuate eminence, and the lateral bone is called tegmentum benign. If you move posteriorly, this is the clavus related to the bones and the medulla. This is the foramen magnum, and this is the anterocondylar canal with hypoglossal nerve passing through it. This is the jugular foramen, and here the internal auditory meatus with the labyrinthine artery, facial nerve, and testiculocochlear nerve passing through them. Then you will find here that this is the internal occipital protuberance, internal occipital crest, and those are the grooves for the dural venous sinuses. This is called the transverse sulcus, and this one is the sigmoid sulcus. About the anatomy of the mandible, as you already know, it is formed of body and two rami. In the body usually develop into two halves, and the line of union between them is the symphysis mentae, and this is mental protuberance with lateral projection, mental tubercles. In the front anterior surface of the body, you will find the mental foramen, you will find the oblique line. On the lateral surface of the ramus, you will find that this is the coronoid process and this is the condylar process. Head of the mandible, neck of the mandible with pterygoid fovea in the front. This is the lateral surface of the ramus of the mandible, and this is the angle of the mandible. If we look, if we look from the lateral side, and this is the oblique line. Don't forget the alveolar margin. If you look from inside, you will find that in the inner surface of the body of the mandible, you will find that the mylohyoid line or mylohyoid ridge with sublingual fossa above and submandibular fossa below. Those are the genial tubercles, and below them the digastric fossa. This is the mandibular canal with inferior alveolar nerve vessels passing through them. In front of it, you will find the lingula with the ligament attached, sphenomandibular ligament attached to it. You will find this is a mylohyoid groove with nerve and artery to mylohyoid muscle passing through it, or related to it. This is the pterygoid tuberosity, which is the site of attachment of the medial pterygoid muscle. This is the age development of the mandible. You will find in the child, the mental foramen is close to the lower border. You will find that this mandibular angle is obtuse angle about 140 degree. You will find that the condylar process is nearly at the level of the body of the mandible, and the coronoid process is projected upward with growth of the mandible. The mental foramen can to lie in between the alveolar margin and the lower border of the mandible, nearly at the level of of the mylohyoid line, you will find that the angle is still obtuse, but 100, it become reduced to 100, 110 degrees. The coronoid process now over projecting the condylar process, and there is lengthening of the ramus of the mandible with absorption of the teeth in the old age, absorption of the alveolar margin. So this mental forming come to be closer to the upper border or the alveolar margin. The angle retain to be obtuse angle, also 140 degree, and the bone is more brittle. In the fetal skull, don't forget the site of the fontanelles that we have: the anterior fontanelle and posterior fontanelle. The wider one is the anterior fontanelle, which is close by the age of about 18 to 24 months. This is the site of the posterior fontanelle, close by the 6 months. There are two anterolateral fontanelle and two posterolateral fontanelle, and usually they are close by the first year of age. In the fractures of the cranial fossa, you can diagnose before radiological examination. You can differentiate between the fracture of the anterior cranial fossa, fracture of the middle cranial fossa, and posterior cranial fossa. For example, in the anterior cranial fossa, the cribriform plate will be damaged, so there will be leakage of the CSF through the nose. We call it cerebrospinal rhinorrhea. There will be epistaxis. If the orbital plate of the frontal bone is fractured, there will be bleeding, subconjunctival hemorrhage. Maybe there is exophthalmos. Maybe the blood will enter the frontal ear sinus and escape through its opening into the nose. In the middle cranial fossa, there are multiple foramina. It is the commonest one, and this is the weakest part of the base of the skull. Usually fractures occur at this side. There may be leakage of the CSF or blood through the external auditory meatus. 7th cranial nerve, 8th cranial nerve might be affected. Nerve moving the extraocular muscles, the 4th one, 3rd one, and 6th one also might be affected. Blood and the cerebrospinal fluid might leak into the sphenoidal ear sinus, and from the sphenoidal ear sinus, it will drain into the nose. In the posterior cranial fossa, the blood will escape into the back of the neck deep to the post-vertebral muscle, and it will reach the region of the posterior triangle. Also, it will be accumulated close to the mastoid process. This blood, the mucous membrane of the roof of the nasopharynx may be injured, so the blood will escape through this area. Cranial nerves passing here are the glossopharyngeal, vagus, and the cranial and accessory nerve. Also, they might be damaged. However, the hypoglossal nerve usually protected by its strong hypoglossal canal. And that's all for the anatomy of the skull. Thank you.